How about that? We got on live. I'm at the point where I just expect that circle to just keep going around and I have to go back and redo everything. But we actually got on live. How exciting. Well, hello, Sheila. She says, I hope you're doing well. And Piper is still doing well. She is. She's kind of like right behind me here. There she is. You can see her. She's lying in front of her bed there. Today, we did not have a question from a viewer, but if you have a question, an esoteric question that would be of interest to everyone, just put it in the comments below if you would, or you can email me directly. It's up to you. If you have questions that are private, just go ahead and give me a call and we'll get a session appointment set up for you. For details, just go to my website and you can learn the prices and all of that. And my website is below, but it's just my name, www.dianarankin.com. Okay, in addition to what we're going to talk about today, I'm actually going to read a short chapter, a couple of pages, but it's a little bit longer than we normally take. But I'm going to read from one of my books, The Found Child. And it's chapter 14, which is Phillip's Philosophy and 7 Strategies for Living. So we're going to talk about that, or I'm going to read that from you. And it talks about gifts versus lessons, the purpose of human life, why illness or accidents, what is God, manifestation, what's important, 7 strategies for living. And we cover a lot of that in just a few pages. Sheila says, hello. My mom is dying. She became very friendly last couple of months. And I just said my goodbye. Oh, Sheila, that's hard. It's hard to let go of one of our parents. And I'm so glad the two of you became friendly the last couple of months. And we're certainly going to send extra angels to her to help her make her transition. And we're going to send you extra hugs. Grief is not an easy thing to deal with. But thank you for telling us so we can all send you love and hold you. The passage that we're going to work on in this book, The Found Child, is a book. It says this is a work of fiction, or is it? And it's about a woman named Diana who has a motorcycle accident. Imagine that. Yes, I did have one. And she meets this little boy at the end of her lane, this found child. And as she's trying to find a home for this found child, she meets Phillip, goes through a big long journey through spirit world and finds her own inner child. So it's a good book. And the passage that we're going to read is a conversation where Phillip and Diana, the main character, are having a conversation about life. Sheila says, thank you so much. You're welcome. And everyone who's listening to this, I know Sheila's sending you love and holding you in their hearts. We will also get a message from one of my other books. It's the Master's Book of Answers by Phillip, as you know. It's an oracle book. Each page has a different wisdom on it. So we will get our message for the week. But I'm going to go ahead and get started because, as I say, it's a little bit longer than we normally speak. So here we go. This is chapter 14, Phillip's Philosophy and 7 Strategies for Living. Let's see if it's easier with my glasses or without. Sometimes without. Would you like tea? Phillip asked. Let's see. Chai, isn't it, with soy milk? Phillip busied himself ordering tea from a young man behind a counter, and I looked around. We were in a coffee house, and we weren't alone. Other patrons sat at round tables or in groups in soft chairs. Some of the people read books, others worked on laptops, while others chatted in small groups. You seem surprised, Phillip said as he handed me a cup of chai tea, steam rising from it like mist from a farm pond. I don't know what to say. Did you think spirit world would be so different from the human world? I never expected harp music and streets of gold, I sighed. I guess I don't know what I expected, but not this, a coffee house? Where do you think all those ideas for the coffee houses came from? He asked playfully. Life here is often created much in the same manner as life on planet Earth. Or should I say, life on Earth is created much the same as here. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? That is easy, he said as he smiled. The chicken, of course. Philip took a sip of his own tea, looked over the mug rimmed directly at me, and then said, "This is a good place to have a conversation. You do that with your friends, have conversations at coffee houses." "Yes," I said, all the while wondering what conversations we were about to have. "You have answers? Excuse me. You have questions? I have answers," Philip said. I took a sip of chai. It was exceptionally good, rich, creamy, with just the perfect mix of spices. I took another sip, and then I returned Philip's stare over the rim of my mug. "I can ask any question I want, and you'll answer?" "Of course." "All right, then. Is this a near-death experience?" "No. No, it's a memory." "A memory?" "Yes, a memory. The motorcycle mishap was merely a means of jogging your memory to information you already know. Of course, there is more to the mishap than this, some of which we have already discussed and some of which you will soon learn." There must be an easier way of remembering." "Oh, for others, that is true. But then some people will not remember at all in this lifetime. Plus, as I said, there are a couple of reasons you are to have the MM. MM refers to the motorcycle mishap. The MM, the motorcycle mishap. I had to smile at that. I wasn't so sure in the future I would see the accident, the MM, quite so cavalierly. It's all memory. Are you telling me that everything I've learned on this journey is something I already knew? Precisely, my dear. Time is created for organizational purposes. Without a need for time, everything is available, is always available to everyone. So everyone knows everything? Precisely. Except we don't know that we know. Alas, he sighed, that is true. At least not until development reaches a level where the mind can comprehend. And remember? And remember, he said. Will I remember any of this when I return to my life? Philip thought for a while before answering. Finally, he said, "Eventually." "Care to elaborate?" "No need to, my dear. You will remember when you remember. Next question." It would do no good to keep asking the same question. I had learned that much on this journey with Philip. I would only get more of the same answer. This thought made me smile. I noticed, too, that Philip was smiling. "You just gave yourself a gift," he said. "A gift?" "Yes, a gift. You told yourself that if you ask the same question, you're going to receive the same answer. Well, sort of like if I think the same thoughts today that I had yesterday, I'm going to get the same results." He smiled. "You said gifts, not lessons." "Yes." He wrapped long, slender fingers around the oversized teacup and looked at me carefully before continuing. "Tell me how you feel if I say to you that Earth is a large school and you are there to learn your lessons." I thought for a while before answering, and then I said, like I'm still a child who has to learn something, when in truth you're telling me all I have to do is remember. Precisely, Philip said with a smile. Now tell me how you felt earlier when I said you had just given yourself a gift. Oh, that's easy to answer. I didn't have to think about it. I felt good about myself. I did learn something, but it came as a gift, not as something I had to work at to learn. And all I had to do was what comes naturally to me. I saw Philip smile, so I continued to clarify the distinction between the two words and how each made me feel about myself. "Receiving gifts is fun," I said. "I like that. It makes me feel love, like I've done something good and I'm being rewarded. Lessons make me feel like I have to buckle down and work hard and learn nonstop. I feel frustrated, like I did something wrong and have to learn how to do it right." I leaned forward, closer to Philip, like we were conspirators. "I like gifts much better," I whispered as loud as I could, like a child telling her best friend a secret she wanted everyone around her to hear. Philip winked playfully. I thought you would. Certainly, we learn the lessons as we find the gifts. And receiving gifts as opposed to learning lessons is more in keeping with the idea of being on an adventure. Is that what human life is like? An adventure? Only if you make it so. Sadly, many people sincerely believe they are students in a giant school, and if they could only learn the lesson they are supposed to get they are supposed to get, only learn the lesson they are supposed to get, their lives would be so much better. But that's not it, is it? Philip merely raised an eyebrow. The dark facets of his eyes danced with light. Why are we on Earth? What is the purpose of human life, Philip? He seemed surprised by the question, as though the answer were self-evident. Why, for the experience itself, my dear, he said. The experience itself, that's it. I believe that is quite a lot. Do you not agree the experience itself is enough? Yes, I suppose so. I sat back against the plushness of the chair. We go through all we go through as humans to experience what we experience, just for the experience itself? Yes. Do we choose what we experience? Oh, why, of course, Philip said, and then reminded me of one of our first stops on this journey where I witnessed a soul reviewing different lives before entering Earth life. Each soul chooses the life experiences Earth life will provide. If our lives are chosen before we come into Earth, are our lives predestined? No, no. The life is predetermined only insofar as the soul has a predisposition for that type of life. In the moment by moment choice, every human makes that determination how life unfolds. Life unfolds or changes in some way with every choice. He took a long sip of his tea and then continued. Actually, life changes with every thought, but you humans are notoriously poor about keeping track of your thoughts. On the other hand, you eventually understand how you alone are responsible for the choices you make and how those choices have led you to where you are now in your life. The life path your soul chooses creates a predisposition for certain choices. However, you may at any time make different choices. I see you are puzzled, so let me give you an example. Let's say that your soul chose a life that brings with it a predisposition for an addiction or a predisposition for playing the violin. All the stars and planets will line up perfectly at the moment of your birth to help you become an addict or violin player. However, the choice to be either is entirely up to the individual. The human may choose to avoid any circumstances that trigger the addiction, or to experience the addiction and heal it or not. The violin player may choose to become a maestro, or may choose to not play the instrument, but instead the music of others. The choices are endless regardless of the predisposition. It is up to the human to make the choices. That is free will. Then the gift of free will, then the gift is in understanding. We have free will regardless of what we choose to experience in this life, or how the stars are aligned, or whatever our life circumstances are. We are responsible for our lives. Yes, and what a marvelous gift it is. It is a gift that sets you free. How so? Once you begin to understand your responsibility for your life, you begin to realize you have created your life at some level, either human or soul. You have agreed to every experience. This realization leads you to the understanding that if you have created your experiences up to now, that you have the power to create whatever experiences you want for your future. It's that simple? Yes and no. For a while, Philip said nothing. I became impatient. I'm waiting. He looked at me as though he had to draw himself back from somewhere. I was checking to see where you are on Earth time. We need to return to your body soon. Staying away too long will make it much more difficult to return you fully. And it is our intention to return you fully. We do not want your human body to deteriorate. He shook his head as though to clear it, and then continued before I had a chance to even think about my body deteriorating or not being able to return fully. Now, where was I? He asked the air. Oh, yes. Certainly, you create your life, either purposefully or without purpose. It really does not matter. If you are creating with awareness or creating willy-nilly, you are creating your life by your choices, which are a product of your thoughts, which are a product of how well you know yourself. Certainly, you can create from a place of thought alone. And once you are aware of being able to do so, you begin to attract to you those things you want to make your life easier. Parking places, new cars, money? Yes, all of these and more, Philip said. And this is good. You are to have a good life if that is your choice to do so. Why do I have the feeling it's only the beginning? Philip smiled. He knew I was starting to awaken a bit. When you first begin to create from a place of thought, you realize how powerful you are and how magical life is. Then the magic fades and you begin to receive the opposite of what you are trying to create. The dark night of the soul. Precisely. You may feel you have lost your ability to create the life you want, in spite of all your best efforts to be positive and monitor your thoughts, clear any old patterns, and visualize with great emotion and clarity. What's a girl to do? I asked, trying to lighten the mood a bit. I wasn't so sure I was ready to hear more of what Philip had to say. I liked the idea of creating a new car and plenty of money. Maybe I could even uncreate the motorcycle wreck. I knew I was trying to buy time, but Philip took me seriously, and he wasn't being flippant the way I was. Why you create from your soul self, of course, he said. Oh, I sat straight up. From my soul self. We're back to what we chose to experience before we entered life. Yes, and not exactly. Then we can change direction. We can rewrite the script. As I have already explained, you have free will to do so. If we have free will and can divert from what we choose before we came into Earth, why then would anyone choose to have any experience other than joyful and fun ones? Why would anyone suffer? Why would I choose to have a motorcycle wreck, for heaven's sakes? I like my body just the way it is, or the way it was. Philip smiled his old, wise, sage's smile, and I knew what he was thinking. But I don't know that I know, I whined. So why don't you just tell me? When you make choices from a soul level, make choices for the healing of your soul and the collective soul. Let me make sure I understand this. From a soul perspective, I agreed to have a motorcycle accident so I could heal myself, and in doing so, I helped to heal other people. Yes. This is evolution at its highest order, Philip said. No one lives in a vacuum. Humans are made of much of the same material, the same atoms and neutrons that the rest of the universe is made of. Any action you take vibrates throughout the universe and changes everything. In your particular case, your prayer has been to help others. The motorcycle accident, if you care to call it that, although something planned and agreed to is hardly an accident, will help you do just that. How? There are two factors at work here. Once you had two women in your family who had motor car accidents in which they did not live. One was your mother, another an aunt who died before you were born. You have broken the pattern for your family, something you were willing to do. Something my soul agreed to, not something I, the human, agreed to, I said stubbornly. Philip gave me time to think about this for a few minutes. You know, Philip, it sort of sounds crazy, and yet it does make sense. If I thought I could save the young woman in my family from harm, I would take that on. But from a human perspective, that sounds crazy, and I certainly would not set out to have a motorcycle accident or motorcycle mishap. Nor could you from a human perspective. It would just not work from such a shallow place. It must come from the deeper soul level. How do we know the difference? I do not suppose most do, at least not until after the fact. Philip sat quiet while I thought about what he had just said. It all seemed so preposterous, and yet it all seemed so right. Philip, you said there were a couple of reasons for my motorcycle mishap. Yes. Well, three actually, if you count the energy opening and cleansing that takes place whenever the body goes through a serious trauma. If properly arranged, a serious trauma or illness can make the necessary changes at a cellular level and rearrangements in your DNA that are called for. It is a system shock that allows you then to be taken to new levels of existence. So I will better understand life and be able to help myself and more people? Yes, I think you will. Plus, now you have the energy of the experience of being injured and spending time in the medical community. You will be able to teach in the medical community, and they will listen to you. They will understand you are coming from truth and experience. I don't like the medical community, Philip chuckled. You may like them even less after your experience, but you will learn from them and you will feel gratitude for them. You will find many good people in the healthcare community who will be eager to hear what you have to say. What am I to teach them? As soon as I asked the question, I knew Philip was only going to tell me that for me to choose, so I smiled and I said nothing more for a while. Finally, I spoke. There is so much to learn, so much to know. It's endless. Yes, it is endless, Philip said. Do you know everything? Me? Oh, goodness, no. I learn as you learn. You see, you help me as much as I help you. That is our purpose for one another. Does everyone have a spirit guide like you? Why, yes, dear. And angels and teachers and loved ones and the whole entourage thing we talked about earlier? That whole entourage thing we talked about earlier, no one is alone. As humans, you need to believe there are those who do watch over you, who do care about you, and who are helping to create the magic in your lives and helping you through tough times. Some people call that God, yes, and others use other names. The name is less important than the relationship. We need something greater than ourselves to believe in. Most definitely. You need a personal relationship with something greater than your human self to be fully aware of your own greatness. You are powerful beyond imagination if you align yourself with the powers of the universe. Heaven and earth move to give you your every desire. You only need to express that desire and get out of our own way. Yes. And if we express our desires from our deepest self, from our soul self, then everything we dream of is ours, more than you can imagine. Let me make sure I understand all this. As a soul, we chose our experiences, but free will allows us to change our mind and experience anything we want. So far, you are correct. If we make choices that allow us to have the experiences our souls ask of us, then we will have all we want and be happy. You certainly have all you need, if not all you want, and you will know a profound contentment and deep joy, both of which are much greater than happiness. Happiness tends to be situational, whereas contentment and the joy are everlasting, permanent all areas, permeating all areas of your life. Ah, sounds heavenly. Philip smiled. Heaven on earth, shall we say. He studied me for several minutes, leaning back in his chair, looking at me down the long length of his rather large nose. You doubt what I say. It's not that I doubt you, Philip, I said with hesitation. It's that I'm trying to make sense of it all. He pulled closer, crossing his long, thin legs over the other. He cupped his chin in his hand and rested his arm on his knee. Go on. On one hand, I understand everything that you are saying and certainly want it to be true. That would be the part I can have everything I want. Everything you need. Okay, everything I need. Maybe that's where I'm getting caught. I see so much inequity in the world. Certainly no one wants pain, but why would anyone need pain? It's hard for me to accept that even from a soul level, we would choose a life of pain. Why doesn't everyone choose to be a millionaire and live a life of luxury and ease? Is that the type of life everyone wants? No, but a lot of people do. Then a lot of people shall have that life if it suits them to do so. But what about the people who want that type of life and never seem to be able to have it? What about the people who are always struggling with money? They may have to give up the struggle. They may be working against themselves. They may, and then again, they may not. Philip smiled at me before continuing. They may not have yet reached the consciousness of millionaires, which is a prerequisite. Consciousness comes before manifestation. Oh, it's like what you told me earlier about the that I'd have the energy of the experience, and having the experience gives me the consciousness of it. Precisely. But how can you have the consciousness of a millionaire if you've never been around millionaires and you're striving just to put food on the table for your kids? Perhaps they may never gain the consciousness of great sums of money in this life. Perhaps they do not actually want the responsibility of that energy. After all, even consciousness does carry a responsibility with it. Philip drifted away momentarily, and then he said, "My dear, I know you have more questions, but for now, we must conclude our conversation and allow you return fully to your body. First, though, I want to give you 7 strategies for living. Every choice you make reverberates throughout your life and throughout the universe. Therefore, it behooves you in each moment to make the wisest choice you are capable of. You came to earth to receive the gifts life brings. Receive them. You have every right to a full and joy-filled life. Claim it, live it. You have no control over another person, nor does another person have control over you. Nor do you have control over life. You are, however, in charge of your life and how you act and react within the experience given to you. While you were in spirit world, you raised your hand and asked to be allowed to come experience earth life. It is a privilege and an honor. Treat your life as such. You may have forgotten to read the small print that warns your life can feel harsh at times. However, even when life feels at its harshest, you can still find joy and laughter if you look for it. You have an entire universe seeking to help you achieve that which you desire. It is your responsibility to seek within to figure out what you desire and then ask for it. Wait for the answers and take the action required. Live in gratitude. It is giving thanks for that which you wish that it comes to you. You have come to earth to experience the experience. You are the one having the experience, not the experience itself. Experience the emotion of the experience, but do not get caught up in neither the experience nor the emotion. Just experience all, whether the experience brings joy, sadness, happiness, grief, sweetness, fear, hate, or other emotion. Experience all emotion as just that, emotion, except for love. This alone is true. Remember these 7 strategies for living, Philip said, and all will be well. His voice trailed off and he began to fade like a ground fog seeping upward. I blinked, tried to rub my eyes, but my fingers touched only air. I too was fading. I grabbed hold of the table to steady me, but it did no good. "Philip," I cried, "Philip, I have so many questions. I can't leave you yet. Why is there war? Why is there illness? Why do we suffer? What is happening in the world today? Why is there so much turmoil in the world? What does the future hold?" A siren screamed inside my head. I suddenly felt overwhelmed with heat and oppressiveness. I couldn't open my eyes. The light was no longer ethereal. Instead, it was harsh and brilliantly bright. "Philip, Philip," I whispered to myself. My heart hurt with more heaviness than I had ever known, a heaviness I could not imagine any human heart could bear. "I am here," Philip said, a voice within my head. I felt the energy of him, felt his presence within me, and yet as an entity separate from me. I could access him through my inner world, and like others in my outer world, he was his own being. "Philip, are you really here?" I asked within my own thoughts. "Of course." Sharp pain sliced through my shoulder. I heard someone scream. It was a terrible scream, like an injured animal lost in the woods. Are you with me, Diana? Stay with me, Diana. Stay with me. I heard someone talking to me. I don't know who it was. I only knew it wasn't Philip. Philip, are you here? I'm here. I want to be with you. Not yet. You have things to complete on earth. Philip, yes. Why do we die? To experience, Philip said. And to, his voice was masked by another stranger voice. Diana, can you hear me? Stay with me, Diana. I heard the voice say. Do you know what has happened to you? Oh, I didn't want to listen to that voice. I wanted to listen to Philip, but something kept pulling at me. Something kept pushing at me. Then I heard someone scream again, an awful, searing pain that cut my body in half. I knew I was the one screaming. Well, hello here. Let's see. Akila, she says, hello, family. Gaida says, hello, everyone, from Gaida in Woodridge, Illinois, USA, praying for you all. God knows what you need. Sandra, hello from Frankfurt. Well, hello, all of you, and thank you for all the hearts. I could see them coming up when I was reading to you. And I hope that what we've read has meaning for you. The experience, receive gifts, not just lessons. The purpose of our life here is to have the experience, accidents, illnesses. And I will say, Philip was right. After I had the experience with the medical community, I did a lot of lectures and writing for them. God, by whatever name, we need the experience of something greater than ourselves. And remember, to manifest, we have to have the consciousness of it. And then remember those 7 strategies for living. Sheila says, thank you, Diana. Amazing. Let's get a message from one of my other books, shall we? The Master's Book of Answers by Philip. I'm hearing right, but I'm also hearing left. So I'm hearing right a little bit stronger. I think right is the message for all of us. It's page 35, and left is the message. Well, I think this is a message for all of us as well. That's why I'm hearing right and left. So on right, it says, first, be a friend. And that's talking about be a friend to yourself. First, be your own friend. So first, be a friend. But our other message is life continues to move. It does not wait for you. Oh, my friends, life continues to move. It does not wait for you. And that is telling us live every moment. We don't know how many other moments we have, whether we ride a motorcycle or not. Live every moment. I hope today, our togetherness has been meaningful for you. It has for me to be with you. And I'm so grateful for those who are able to be here with us live. I'm so grateful for your thumbs up, your likes, your comments. And again, if you have a comment for the whole group, just put it in the comment section below and I'll see it. If you have or if you have a question, put it in the comments. If you have a private question, get a hold of me. I love you, my friends. Thank you so much. I am grateful. Until next time.